Hello, Miss Genny here. We're going to have another look at a reading comprehension today. Now, yesterday we talked about using P when you do your work, so that was making a point, finding the evidence, and explaining how the evidence supported our answer. So I still want you to do that, but we're going to be looking and focusing on inference skills as well today. What is inference? Let's have a little look. Inference is where we read between the lines to gain a greater understanding of what we are looking at and to reach logical conclusions. In this case then, you are using your existing knowledge and understanding about the world and how things work and how people behave to draw conclusions. And when it says we read between the lines, it's not explicitly said in the text, so that means that it doesn't say Miss Genny was sad, but it maybe say Miss Genny had a frown upon her face and sighed. So from that, it hasn't said that I'm sad, but you can infer that that has happened because of my frown and because I sigh, and that is often something people do when they're not feeling very happy about something. Let's have a look at some examples, and I'm going to go through a few different examples and different formats and see if you can draw the same kind of conclusions of me. Your opinion might be different, but if you can back it up, then that's great. And then I want you to head over to Purple Mash and to complete today's reading comprehension. Inference. Here is a picture. Now have a little look at that picture. We can see there's a man. There's a tent, a rocky background. Now, looking at that background and looking towards the horizon, I can see that there seem to be clouds in the sky. So I am making the conclusion here that this has been taken high up on a mountainside. So if I'm making that kind of conclusion, who do I think is in the picture? I'm going to draw my conclusion then that this person is a mountaineer, a walker, an explorer, an adventurer. Because they're high up a mountain, they must have travelled a long way. And then looking at the clothes that they are wearing, they seem to have all the correct clothing for extreme weather conditions. And they've got all the equipment that you would need to be able to explore. So we've got his rucksack there, he's got his hat on, he's got a tent to keep him going. Is it cold or hot in the mountains? Looking at that picture, thinking about what the man is wearing, a coat and a woolly hat, the fact that it's very high up, I would infer that it is cold, because I know that when places are at a higher altitude, they can get colder as you go up. Some experience from that is that I've read about Everest before, and I know at the top of Everest it's extremely cold. And I know that in winter, the first signs of snow always come at the top of mountains. How does the mountaineer feel? If he's managed to get that high, he's probably enjoying himself. It's something he wants to do, so he might be feeling quite happy and excited. But I'm also going to infer that he's probably quite tired because it's not easy to complete such a difficult walk or climb. Why has the mountaineer chosen to climb to this location? So my experience would say that he probably is an experienced mountaineer. He probably likes the challenge, and he wants to maybe be one of the first people or one of very few people to get to the peak of that mountain. So it's a sense of achievement for him. Let's have a look at another picture. Why are these children on the floor? Looking at the picture, I can see that they seem to be peering at stuff, so I think that they are on the floor because they're either looking at something that they've got resting on the floor, or they're looking below, and it looks to me like they're looking in a river. And I'm going to say a river rather than a pond, and that's because there's a bridge, and often you have bridges to cross rivers. So what are they looking at? And I can see that there are some containers. They look to have some kind of water in them. And like we've already said, it looks like it's a river below them. They're looking down at it. So I would say that they are probably pond dipping. So that means they're getting water out of the river. It's called pond dipping, but it just means basically dipping into water, looking in, putting the contents into their little tubs and looking at what they found. Why are they wearing hats? Now, they're not a woolly hat like the man was wearing in the last picture. It's a cap, and I've seen lots of you wearing caps like this recently, and you were wearing them because it was very hot and it was to protect you from the sun. So I'm going to infer that that is the same reason for these children. Why do I think they are on a bridge? Kind of touched on that earlier. I think they are on a bridge because they're doing something in the water, and it wouldn't really be safe or pleasant for them to actually get into the water, and it's a man-made structure made for ease, for kind of walking over the river, studying the river, and so forth. Let's have a look at one more. Right. Is this photograph modern? Straight away, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say no because it is black and white. That's my first clue, because I know that photos in the past were black and white, and now they are colour. Another thing that I'm going to say is that the children are wearing very different clothes to the clothes we wear today. And having looked at old pictures over my time, I would probably infer that they are Victorian children, because the clothing that they are wearing seems very similar to other pictures I've seen about the Victorians. So where do I think they are? It's a group of children, quite a large group of children. I think there's maybe one adult in there, and they all seem to be girls. So I think that this is a class of children, because they seem to be about the same size, with their teacher, and I think that they are having their school picture taken. Their school must be a school for girls, because, as I've said before, I can't see any boys in that picture. How do they feel about being there? Well, this is reading people's emotions, isn't it? And I'm looking at their faces, and they don't look very excited to be at school, do they? They look like they're there because they have to be there. And I would say that because nobody seems to be smiling, and it all seems very serious. Right. Here are just some situations where we can use our inference. If your teacher is not at school today, can you infer that? Which of these would be the most likely? Your teacher is never going to return. There will be no lessons at school today. You will not be given any homework. Your teacher is sick or at a meeting. So have a look at that. Think about your own experiences with your teachers when they may have been off. Which of those things is most likely? Yes, you're right. It is most likely that your teacher is sick or at a meeting. That is the most sensible and most likely choice to make from that situation. Let's have a look at another. Now on this one, we're going to read the sentence and we're going to find the correct inference from the choices below. Boom, fizz. Another one exploded over the children's head as they grinned and yelled in excitement. Can you infer that the children were bored? It was winter time. The children loved fireworks. It was the first time the children had seen fireworks. So straight away, the clues, boom and fizz, another one exploded over the head. So I know, because I've been to quite a few of these, it's probably a firework display. So are the clues telling me that they love fireworks, or are they telling me that it's the first time the children have seen fireworks? Let's have a look for any clues. Another one exploded over the children's head as they grinned and yelled in excitement. There's nothing there that suggests it's the first time. They're not shocked or amazed at what they're seeing. They're grinning and they're happy. They're excited. So it's something, it suggests to me that it's something that they've seen before and they like, and they're enjoying this experience again. So my choice would be the children love fireworks. Looking at the following passage and answer the questions this time. When Maisie drew her curtains that morning, she smiled and wrapped her arms around herself. There would be no school today. that's for sure. She would get wrapped up and dig her sledge out of the garage. Then she would spend the rest of the day wrapped in a blanket. Porridge for breakfast, I think, she said. So what did Maisie see outside her bedroom window? So she's opened the curtains, she's smiling. She's wrapped her arms around herself. That suggests she might be a bit cold. There's no school today. When have schools been shut before? They've been shut at the minute, aren't they, because of COVID, but that doesn't seem to fit in with the clues I'm getting. So I am going to read on and see if there are any more clues. She would get wrapped up and dig her sledge out of the garage. So she's getting a sledge out. We sledge when it's snowing. So I think that she has seen that it snowed heavily outside her bedroom. And why do I think it is heavily? Because she said there's going to be no school today. And schools are shut when the snow is really bad and the roads are not clear. Why is she going to have porridge for breakfast? Well, porridge is warm. It's also full of lots of carbohydrates, lots of energy to keep you going. I know she's going to be going out sledging, playing in the snow all day. So I think she's having it because it will keep her warm and give her lots of energy. How did Maisie feel about there being no school today? So let's have a little look. It says there will be no school today. And just before that, it has told me she smiled and wrapped her arms around herself. So from that sentence, I am going to assume, because she smiled to herself, that she is probably quite excited that there's no school today. And when it goes on that she's going to go get a sledge, she's getting happy about that, isn't she? She's got something to look forward to for the day. So again, that suggests she's quite excited about the day to come, not being at school. Inference. What can you infer from this picture? From this picture, then, I can infer that the person is probably running in a race. And the reason I can say that is because of the clothes that they are wearing. Those are the clothes that I have seen lots of runners wear. They seem quite appropriate. They've got trainers on. They've got a number pinned to their front, which often is given to runners when they're in a competition. And also the person looks like they are probably celebrating. Looks like they may be about to cross the finish line, and you can actually see something on the floor that might look like that. He's smiling, he's got his hands up, so I think he or she is very happy about completing this race. Lots and lots of clues there, and we can make lots of inferences. Here's one more. What can you infer from this picture, and what makes you think that? So, what do I know? I know that that girl is looking at lots of little bits of coloured paper cut up. Looking at the floor, it's got big old stones, which I have seen when I have visited our church. That makes me think that perhaps she is outside a church. She is wearing a white posh dress, which suggests to me that she may have been at a wedding, perhaps even a bridesmaid. The coloured paper reminds me of confetti, which is thrown at weddings. So all of those clues put together would tell me this is a little girl that's been at a wedding, probably played a part as a bridesmaid. The people have got married, and after all the confetti's being thrown, she's having a little play and picking up that nice coloured paper. What I want you to do now then is head back over to Purple Mash, have a go at today's reading comprehension, and see if you can use your inference skills to help you. Good luck and goodbye.